Hey everyone, thank you for coming back. I'm Giller Bell with The Whole Truth. And um, what I wanted to do today was kind of approach Candace Owens' conspiracy slop from the point of view of how I would think Tyler Robinson's defense lawyers would actually use it. So, for example, we know about Candace Owens said during the debate with Andrew Wilson that Tyler Robinson never actually admitted to the killing to his parents. And yet that is in the charging documents. So if that were true, I would try to get the whole case dismissed on that basis. Because it's used in the affidavit for the original arrest. And that affidavit for the original arrest, the probable cause, was subsequently used as the basis to execute search warrants. Now, I don't think that it would get the case dismissed because there was independent, avenues, but it might suppress a lot of the evidence if that were true. The other thing I would do is I would call them to the stand at the preliminary hearing and ask them. And if they were to testify, which of course, if it's true, they would testify to it. Why would they lie about their own son, admitting to them that he confessed? So there's a reason why the prosecution wouldn't want to bring them to the stand, but why wouldn't the defense want to bring them to the stand if it were true? And what would be my line of questioning? I would pretty much just ask, is it true that your son admitted to the crime? And as soon as they say no, that's going to cause a lot of problems for the prosecution because that was the basis of the original arrest. And it was based on hearsay, double hearsay, really, because it came from the family friend Mike Mitchell who said that. But at that point, if they said no, then you got a credibility problem with Mike Mitchell because Mike Mitchell told the cops. So so the prosecution would have to find out where that false information came from. Did it come from Mike Mitchell or was it fabricated in the probable cause for the arrest? If it came from Mike Mitchell, then the defense would have reason to call him to the stand and impeach him, say, why did you say that? Why did you lie and say that his parents told you that Tyler told him or told them that he confessed? And that's going to cause problems for his credibility. So why didn't they do that? Why wouldn't the defense do that? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because Tyler Robinson did actually admit it to them. By the way, if there is a gag order, I mentioned this earlier. Sometimes I like to repeat myself because I don't know who's on each of my live streams, who's watching. So those who watch all of them, sorry, you're going to get some repetition. But what I mentioned before was Andrew had a good point during the debate with Candace that butter is being a jerk. That Tyler Robinson's parents would have the right to go to the media and say their kid is being railroaded and framed. And no gag order could stop them. And if the judge tried to impose a gag order to stop them from saying that, when they're being used, their statements are being used by the prosecution, then those parents can sue the judge, the court, for issuing those gag orders and get them overturned. You cannot issue a gag order and say, no, no, no. You have to sit quietly while your son is being framed and railroaded because you might be a potential witness. That's not how it works, Candace. Idiot. And all of your followers who believe that's how it works are idiots. I'm done playing nice with you people. You're retarded, but you're dangerous retards. Okay? There's nothing wrong with being retarded. Some people are born retarded, but you people are dangerous because you don't realize you're retarded. So I'm really done playing nice with them. Okay? They're the way that they're spewing nonsense into the public realm, and which is getting picked up by all the other retards, is really doing incredible damage to the case, and it could just completely poison the jury pool to the point that Tyler Robinson won't even be given a fair trial. Neither would the prosecution. They have to do a plea deal, even if it's something that the prosecution doesn't want to do. Now, what other things could we do as Tyler Robinson's defense if anything that Candace Owens or Baron Coleman or any of these other grifters is saying were true? What else could we do? Well, let's say his text messages were fabricated. Let's say that were actually true. Because the text messages to me are the open and shut part of this case. Well, as a defense lawyer, if I believe that, or if there was some evidence, I would subpoena the records from iCloud or from wherever to show that those text messages did not come from my client's phone. I would also subpoena the cell phone towers. And yes, you can do this prior to the preliminary hearing, and they could have presented at the preliminary hearing. That would show my client was not at UVU, for example. Where was Tyler Robinson if he wasn't at UVU? Was he near where he lived and worked? So why didn't you bring any witnesses that put him somewhere else that he had an alibi? Why didn't you bring any records of any footage of him at a restaurant or a store that puts him somewhere else? Why didn't you bring any financial records that show that he bought something near where he lived? Because they don't exist. That's why. Yes, the burden of proof, I understand the burden of proof is on the prosecution, but that doesn't mean that the defense is not allowed to present anything, even at the preliminary hearing stage. You want your client to sit in jail for the next 12 to 18 months waiting for a trial? If you have compelling evidence that he didn't do it, you bring it up at the preliminary hearing. They didn't. Because there is none. They can't just lie. Lawyers can't just lie and say my client didn't do it. And they can say the prosecution has failed to meet their burden. And they can say this evidence is insufficient. But they can't lie and say my client has an alibi and not present any evidence. In fact, if a lawyer knows that they're lying to the court, that's unethical. You're not even allowed to put someone on the stand if you know that they're going to lie, or if you have good reason to believe that they're going to lie. You are supposed to represent your clients zealously. That is important. But you're not allowed to deliberately mislead the court or a jury. And that is why the defense is not bringing up a fake alibi. So all of these conspiracy theorists don't know how the court system works. They think that it's some impenetrable um fortress that you're not allowed to like present a defense. No, you are. I present the defense when I'm at a preliminary hearing. Now there is some strategic considerations, but there's never a strategic consideration that says, "Oh, I have compelling evidence my client was not there, but I think I'm going to wait until trial." Yeah, I'm gonna let my client sit in jail, rot in jail, or could get beaten to death by other inmates, and all sorts of things can happen. I'm gonna let that go on because I would rather surprise them at trial. No, you don't do that. Okay. So I'm really sick of all these theories. And then of course the only way that they come around and explain it is that the defense is in on it. That's why the defense is trying to get the death penalty thrown out. That because they're in on it. They're trying to get the other offenses thrown out because they're in on it. Make that make sense. No, the defense is doing exactly what the defense can do. Nobody, and if Tyler Robinson doesn't like his defense team, you know what he can do? He can fire them. He's not stuck with them. He has a constitutional right to counsel that includes the right to terminate his lawyers if he thinks that they're in on it. But you know who doesn't think they're in on it? Is Tyler Robinson. He doesn't think that his defense lawyers are in on it. If he did, he would tell the judge, I want new lawyers. He's allowed to do that. So I'm just sick of these idiots that think that they know what they're talking about and they don't. It's infuriating. And I'm just gonna keep calling them out and be a broken record. I don't care because until they shut up, I'm not gonna shut up. I want justice for Charlie Kirk and his family, and all the evidence points to Tyler Robinson. If some evidence comes out that someone else did it, then that's who I will want to be punished. Okay? The Fed slop to these people means evidence. That's all Fed slop means, is that we follow the evidence. So yeah, I'm in favor of Fed slop because I like evidence. I don't like speculation, theoretical hypothesis that about what could happen, but there's no evidence whatsoever. No, I like to see evidence. Did I enjoy the debate? No, not really. Uh, I thought Andrew Wilson could have done better. I mean, by all objective standards, he won. He won, but he could have done better. He won objectively speaking, but we're not. Candace is not held to objective standards, so it didn't accomplish anything. Now, if it was just for free, if nobody got paid anything, there was no ad revenue, I wouldn't care. But Candace Owens got paid $300,000. That's a lot of money. Not to mention the ad revenue and the super chats that she's going to get and all that. That is a lot of money. And it's obscene. She hasn't even offered it to Charlie Kirk's kids. What type of sick? Who can stick by her at this point? Does she think Charlie Kirk's kids are in on it too? Is that why she doesn't want to put it in a trust for them? What a sick world that we live in. And that people can stand by her. And you know what, Michael Knowles? I respected you for turning down the debate, but if you don't come out and say that Candace Owens is a sick bitch, I don't care if you're her kid's godfather. You're a pussy. You're a pussy. Okay? Megan Kelly, you're a pussy. All of you people that are not calling out Candace Owens for this sick shit are pussies. Okay? There are people that are being dragged through the mud just for calling out Candace Owens' sick shit. And you people that are standing by her or staying quiet about her, you're cowards. Okay? It's well past the time to pick the side. So if you want to pick her side, then pick her side. But quit dancing around it. Just because Candace Owens has a lot of followers, that's cowardice. That's the definition of cowardice. I guarantee these influencers that are on the fence wouldn't mind calling it out if it was Ben Shapiro or some Jewish guy who was spewing all the nonsense that Candace Owens is. But because it's Candace Owens and she has all these followers, I'm like too afraid to call it out. It's pathetic. Yeah, thank you. And all of you guys, you males, so-called males that are on Candace's sides, you guys are cucks, pussies. You're not men. To let yourself be conned by such a evil witch, pathetic, pathetic. Okay, the best you can say is that you're stupid. That's the best case scenario. Is you're just stupid. Otherwise, you're like her lapdogs, and it's pathetic. And to most people watching, you're pathetic. And don't even try and gaslight us into saying, "Oh, what? We're not allowed to ask questions." You're allowed to ask questions. Nobody cares about asking questions. That is not what she has been doing. She asks questions, she gets answers, she doesn't like the answers, she ignores them. She wants an answer that says Israel did it. Doesn't matter if it's true, that's the answer she wants. She wants an answer that says Erica Kirk is in on it. Doesn't matter if it's true, that's the answer she wants. And she's going to push it regardless of whether or not it's true. She'll take shitty evidence that's circumstantial and has really no basis, and she'll make that into a ton of content. Oh, Charlie Kirk sent a text that he was pissed about some Jewish donors. Okay. That's like, 10th degree evidence, maybe. What about text message confessions? Oh, no, that's not good evidence. But a text message by Charlie kind of vaguely saying he was upset about some Jewish donors, that's good evidence. But somebody saying I did it in a text message, that's not good enough evidence. Make that make sense. I'm sick of these people. Yeah, well, I'm just sick of it. And it's beyond sick. It's beyond sick. What shirt was she wearing, Nikki? What was she wearing? Hi, everyone in the chat, by the way. Save Smiles, Alita, Nikki, X Samurai, Nikki already said, Juju B, JP6 Gunner, Van Cruz, Ninto, Rana, Mackenzie, always great to see you. Other Nikki, got a lot of Nickies. Eclectic, of course. Yeah, he should have known court much better. Andrew should have. But again, he won. He won. Oh, thank you, EJ. Um, okay, sorry if I missed some of your comments and questions. What's up, bestie, EJ? You got to do some more content together, EJ. That was fun. She was wearing a shirt that said Shabbat Shalom, Daddy's home. She's making a mockery of this. How do people not see this? Is anyone who thinks that she's trying to get to the truth? Who thinks that? Are they that blind? I mean, most of these people are Jew haters. Most of them are Jew haters. I'm sorry. I I don't like it when people call others anti-Semitic, just because they disagree about a certain Israeli thing or whatever. But most, not all, most of her following are Jew haters. Scratch the surface a little bit, and you'll see. Uh, and that's why they like this. They don't care if it's true. They want Israel to take the blame for it. And Erica Kirk, you see, Candace Owens kind of has her own problem with Erica Kirk. That's obviously a jealous, vindictive issue. I don't get why all these other people are jumping on with her about that. But I do see that why they're jumping on about the whole Israel thing is because they hate Jews. And it's just another reason. They don't care if it's true. You think Ian Carroll cares if it's true? Is my sound still good? I think this is like a new mic. I have a second mic, so let me know if this sounds bad. Okay, forget the mic. I'm just gonna, next time I get a good settlement for my case, I'm spending like $1,000 on just getting some good setup. We'll get like computer, camera, and microphones, and that'll be the end of it. Just so I don't have to deal with this shit anymore. But yeah, so thank you, EJ. So yeah, so what I asked was, do you think Ian Carroll actually believes that Israel did it? Because he said that within one day. And the answer is no. He's just trying to stoke Jew hatred. That's the whole point of it. Stoke anti-Israel Jew hatred. And for Candace, stoke hatred of Erica Kirk. Because she has a problem with Erica. Because she's jealous and she's a sociopath. So that's their purpose. Now, what I was saying before my audio cut out is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Candace was going after Andrew Colvette and Blake Neff and TPUSA members right away. I think it started happening because they started coming to the defense of Erica. And so anybody that comes to the defense of Erica all of a sudden becomes complicit in the murder. So it just goes to show that it has zero. For her, truth is not the goal. There's nothing truth seeking about her. It is 100% blaming people that she doesn't like, just to get them hated. It has nothing to do with who actually killed. If Israel actually killed Charlie Kirk, then I would want to know that, and I would be disgusted that Israel did it, okay? But there's no evidence of that, and it doesn't make any sense. But if that's the truth, I want to know the truth. She doesn't want to know the truth. If she wanted to know the truth, she would be handling this totally different. And asking questions doesn't mean that you're trying to get to the truth. It depends the reason. It depends the motivation for asking the questions. Sick. Thanks, Rana. Yeah, I know. I just started doing these lives more than the pre-recorded videos because I really like interacting with you guys. And it's like whenever I have a chance, thank you, Rana. Van Cruz, she doesn't have a single black person on her side. I don't know, that guy Uncle Tom who's on X who keeps giving me shit because I'm Jewish. I think that's one person. I hope her viewership is exaggerated. I hope that most of them are like Bangladeshi robots, you know? That would make me feel good. But no, she has a huge following. She has it. It can't be overstated. What about the vocal fry? The vocal fry from him? Sorry, some of these references I'm not getting. Kanye? I think Kanye has cut her off. Kanye has problems, and he went through some like manic depressive shit, and I think he's kind of like trying to stay out of the limelight since that. Yeah, her audience is basically leftists, bots, and Jew haters. Yeah. Sad smiles, yeah, of course, yeah. Candy Farrakhan. I cannot believe that. So, which one of you told me that she wore a Shabbat Shalom Daddy home t-shirt? What a fucking cunt. Am I gonna be, like, excommunicated from YouTube for saying that? I couldn't think of a better word to say. hold on 1 second. It's my wife just saying she's gonna leave for a few minutes. Hold on. Wife is going to meet with a friend for sushi. So if I gotta end it early because my baby's crying, it's because my wife deserves a break too. But yeah, so she said that she wore a shirt that's just mocking Charlie. And I think Blake Neff said it well. He wrote a book about Shabbat. That was his final book about, the Sabbath. And it was obviously something that's important to him. And she's mocking it. What? I wouldn't do that to my enemy. I would not even do that to my enemy. If my enemy was killed, I wouldn't go around mocking them. And she thinks of herself as Charlie's friend, and she's mocking something that he found important, that not just he found it important, but he thought it was his final book was about that. And by the way, one of the things about in the Jewish tradition that I don't do it myself, but I see a lot of value amongst the ultra religious Jews that do it, is on Saturdays, the Sabbath, they turn off their phones, they don't work, they just spend the day with their family. They don't watch TV, and they don't drive, and I can't do that, but it's a really beautiful thing. And Charlie wanted to share that, and he lived by that. He kept it. He worked like crazy 6 days a week, but 1 day a week he would turn off his phone and just focus on family. And so he wrote a book about it. I haven't read the book, so I don't know exactly what's in it. But the point is that he thought it was a beautiful thing, and she's mocking it. And how could anybody think that? She's so sick. She's so sick. She is so sick. She said it was her idea. Yeah. She's never had her own good idea. I don't believe that for a second. She is such a horrible. You know what though? It's good to have such horrible people that are so obviously evil. It's not good, but if she was just partially evil, like, it would be a lot harder to get so many people against her. But the fact that she's just so over the top evil, like, she's like a cartoon villain, Like, I don't think I could write a better villain than Candace Owens. Somebody needs to put her in, like, a Marvel comic as, like, the Reputation Destroyer or something. The Candy Roach. Because she is like such an epitome of evil that it's almost like too easy to go against her. You know what I mean? So I like that she makes it so easy. She's not subtle in her evilness. I could talk all night about how much I hate Candace Owens. The great destroyer of lives. Yeah. I love that. Oh God. She's just. Does anyone have any ideas? I can talk about her nonstop, but if you guys want to, let's maybe let's go through some X stuff. And again, if my baby starts crying, I'm stuck. We should all get together one day. Um, I'll have a pool party at my house. If you guys are ever in SoCal, I know Mackenzie is. But we should all have a party one day. By the way, you guys keep helping me grow my channel. I really appreciate it. I don't want to be like desperate asking, but you guys are so great, and I know I can keep asking you. So thank you. Please keep helping me. I'm getting close to 300, which is nothing, but it's a milestone. And I think once I get up a little bit more, it will start slowly keeping on. Chicks. Yeah. Okay, I did watch Chicks on the Right today. Okay, Rana. By the way, everyone join the WhatsApp group. That's how we chat with each other. I don't know if that's cool. S Files. I'm inviting everyone to your WhatsApp group. Um, and that's how we keep up. When we're doing lives and stuff. Yeah, pool party. I don't exactly have the biggest pool, so I don't know how many people. But we should definitely all get together and do something. Um, Chicks on the Right are cool. By the way, you guys, also Joshua Carr. I am doing a guest spot with him this week. Super excited about that. I've been trying to schedule it with him. I think this week 3 p.m. Pacific, so my time. So that should be fun. He seems like a genuinely good guy. You'll bring the chips and dips fan cruise? Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, let's watch some stuff. Let's watch it. Unless you guys want me to just keep talking, keep preaching about how bad Kiss is, because I don't mind doing that. But let's maybe branch out a little bit. Let's see what's going on X. Let's go through X. Let's start with X and then move on. Nice, okay. Hold on a second. Okay. Views aren't the same as winning the debate. You went viral because you lost the debate and people were mocking you. I wish that were true, King of X. I wish that were true. And maybe it's true to some extent, but I don't think it's that true. I think that her groupies, I don't think that she gained anyone, but I don't think she really lost anybody. I don't think it did anything except made her much richer, and PBD and Andrew Wilson much richer, as if those guys don't have enough money, right? But I don't care about them. They could make as much, you know. Sorry, my dog. No barking. If my dog wakes up my baby, I am gonna be pissed at my dog. Okay, so let's see what he was commenting about. Just seeing that our debate yesterday has eclipsed 3.1 million views in 18 hours. Truly amazing. Thank you to everyone who took the time to watch. This really was such a great win for those of us who have kept our heads down. What? For those of us who have kept our heads down? How has she kept her heads down? Head down. Whew. Kept our heads down. Now she's saying that she's been keeping her head down. Does she not know what that expression means? Man, she is... That is like... rage bait like crazy. To say something like that? Wow. Wow. Yeah, saves. I hope Brian Harple, I know nothing about this guy. I don't care if he's a bad guy. I don't give a shit who he... I want him to bankrupt Candace Owens 100%. I am basically... I have the back of anybody who goes against Candace. Just about anybody who stands up to Candace, I will have your back. And the higher up you are in the Candy cult, the more I dislike you. So when the Candy cult members start fighting amongst themselves, I always side with whoever's lower in the cult totem pole. So for example, Mitch Snow versus Elizabeth Lane, I'm going for Mitch Snow. I know he's an asshole. I know he is. But Elizabeth Lane is higher up on the Candy cult prestige totem pole. So I'm going for Mitch in that fight. Project Constipation versus Ian Carroll. You better believe I'm going for Project Constipation. He's an idiot. He's a loser. But compared to Ian Carroll, man, he's like, I'm going for Project Constipation. I don't know if you guys feel the same way as me. But yeah, whoever is lower on the Candy cult totem pole, if they're going up against someone higher, we should just back the lower one. What do you guys, yeah, you agree? Okay. Cool. Oh my God, Candace Owens, you... Rage Bronson. Explain to me again how someone who claims to be so familiar with the case, knows it inside and out, got wrecked on this fact check that she asked for about Robinson telling Lance he's unsecure, blah, blah, blah. Claiming to be... Yeah, claiming to be an investigator and not know evidence in the case is far worse than not knowing well. Yeah, okay. I got your back, Rage, on it. I mean, I do think Andrew should have known the 7 charges, but maybe it's easier for me as a lawyer. You know, I see those 7 charges. They're easy for me to memorize. Maybe somebody who's not a lawyer, it's a little bit more obscure. But who cares if he knew it or not? I mean, he should have known it. He's getting paid a lot of money, but whatever. What does that say? What does that say? Oh, I didn't know that it was also had obstruction of justice. Who gives a shit? Murder. And then she's so stupid. She's like, it aggravated murder. Yeah, aggravated murder is murder. Okay? Aggravated murder is murder. It, like, grand theft auto is theft. It just might be a specific type, but it's considered, you know what I mean? Like, and that's even not as strong of an analogy. Aggravated murder is murder. Period. She's so stupid that she thought that was a gotcha. And she was wrong. Yeah. It was like when Tucker Carlson asked Ted Cruz, what's the population of Iran? And Ted Cruz was like, I don't know, 80 million? And Tucker's like, no, 92 million. Okay. Good for you, Tucker. You know the population. You did a Google search before you came on. Candace Owens did a search and she got the 7 charges. Who gives a shit? Even the lawyers might not know the 7 charges. What matters is the aggravated murder, which Andrew correctly said was murder, and you're too dumb to know that it is. Candace, you stupid cockroach. And you knew that 2 of them were obstruction of justice? Who gives a fuck? You stupid, stupid person. It's so stupid what she was talking about with the hearsay. Yeah, in a court of law at trial, you have a constitutional right to cross-examine witnesses. But that doesn't mean that outside of court, you're not allowed to think about something that might be excluded from court. Like, is she trying to, get Tyler Robinson off on a technicality? Is she, trying to argue technicalities here? Is that her goal? I thought it was about trying to get to the truth, not trying to get Tyler Robinson off on a technicality. And again, I think this is a really good point. If somehow, and this is not going to happen, but if, in a hypothetical, theoretical world, there was a conspiracy that set up Tyler Robinson, and we're wrong, and Candace's side is right, you know what? Being an idiot that luckily gets to the right conclusion is worse than being smart and following the evidence and being fooled because it was such a great conspiracy that was so sophisticated and provided a lot of evidence. Okay? So nothing that they have said makes any sense, and none of the evidence they have provided, they don't even provide any evidence. So if just it ends up being that it was a conspiracy, it will be pure dumb luck that they got it right. It will be 0%. If anything, their investigation is probably veering everyone away from the actual conspiracy if there is one. I'm trying to think of a good analogy. And it was not all hearsay, and it doesn't even matter. The medical report is hearsay, right? Because technically, at trial, for example, the medical examiner is going to come in to testify and be subject to cross-examination. But it's the medical examiner's report. He's not going to testify really anything differently. He's going to look at his report, and he's going to testify exactly what's on the report. There's really not going to be any substantive cross-examination. So, is that much better than the report by itself? I mean, it's just a procedural requirement. But it doesn't mean that there's going to be anything substantively better. She's so stupid. She doesn't understand logic. The hearsay the reason that it's not allowed at trial, absent certain exceptions, is because of the constitutional right to confront and cross-examine your Witnesses. That's the principle behind it. But it's not like hearsay bad evidence. That's not what it means, Candace. Okay? It's a procedural issue. It's about procedural due process. But a lot of hearsay can be perfectly legitimate evidence and it won't even matter